Hey folks, how you doing? So I want to make a video. It's kind of like a tip type of video, again like knife making tip, and also kind of like explanation, because I see still a lot of people have hard time understanding that what it takes to make the custom knife and why the price is. And I'm so custom. Shouldn't say custom, because in the real meaning of a custom, I don't do custom knives, at least not all of them. I do a lot, but not all of them. Most of my knives are not custom in a real sense of the word custom. Custom means when it was actually ordered by a customer and it was made after the order, so the customer has some kind of input, you know, even if it was just what kind of shade you want for it or what kind of handle material, you know, that's all it takes. Like the customer has has some kind of input on the knife. But I think that the labels, I honestly think that sadly the labels, people make labels more important than the actual functionality of the tool. And for me, the knives are tools first and foremost. They're supposed to work, you know. And you know, for me, knife isn't just a beautiful tool that is fun to play with and it's good to use, but it's also a very important tool. So it's, in my books, it has to work really well. So I often, when I talk about my knives as a customs, I kind of it's mostly just by accident, because I tried not to use that word because it's meaningless. And you know, same thing like handmade. You know, I don't claim my knives to be handmade, even though they are 95% handmade. You know, I just use waterjet blanks. I design my knives, I have it cut by waterjet. I personally think there's nothing wrong with it. There are people who actually care about that stuff, and I mean, honestly, you know, I'm only one guy and I have high demand on knives. So logical next thing is do the waterjet, so I can produce the number to satisfy the customer, so I can get the product out there. Because again, I don't care about labels. I don't care if I will be able to say that they are 100% handmade. It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm happy that I will be able to make more knives and you know, have more people to have my knives. And you know, that's what it is. It does require, you know, pretty big investments. That's what I want to talk about a little bit. Now, beside the obvious of the tools, you know, like a good grinder, like my grinder, just the grinder itself was almost $4,000. I actually don't regret a single penny of it. It is the best grinder I've seen, and I've used the TW90, I use this, I've seen a lot of other stuff. It really is such a great grinder. Now when I know how good it is, I actually would have no problem paying $6,000 for it, because I know that grinder will work it back. It really does. So beside the obvious, the tools. Now when I do stuff the way I do, now it takes a lot of money to put up front. People don't realize it, but you know, I don't do 4, 5, 10, 20 pieces of knives. It just wouldn't be cost efficient. You have to do big batches to make it cost efficient, so it would actually beat in a cost wise, so it would beat making it myself, you know, getting the bar of steel and shaping it myself. You have to do larger quantities, so the price of the waterjet is lower when you do larger quantities. Same for the heater, you know, obviously. If you send only, I think it's about 5 knives, if you're sending under 5 knives to Peters, which are, they're great. Peter's heat treat is awesome. And another thing why people ask often, why don't I do my heat treat, is because it's not time and cost efficient, and I could never match the quality what they can do. Never. No matter what people will tell you, you can never match, you know, as long as the people care, which Peters do care, because they have certain reputation they have to uphold. So it's just not worth for them not to care and do a crappy job, you know, because they have such a reputation. They are like, you know, along with the boss, they're the best in the industry here. So they have to keep, they cannot disappoint unless it's some crazy accident, which I never even heard of. They have to keep their name and they have to keep it up. So with the tools, you know, they have multi-million-dollar furnaces and all the equipment, so you can never match the quality they do with the little furnace and, you know, stuff like that, because you just can't. It's reality, it's physics, you can't. You know, you can do the good job, definitely, but in the long run, you just can't. That's the reality, and I don't mean it to knock anybody down. I just mean it, that's the reality. If I want to produce more tools for better prices, in a better time frames, that's the way to go. So Peters, for example, if you do only 4, 5 knives, you're gonna pay $20-25 each. But if you're gonna do 100 knives at the time, like I sometimes do, I'm do often between 50 and 100, sometimes even over 100 knives at the time, the cost per knife goes rapidly down, which makes it very, very cost efficient, not to mention the time efficiency. If I were doing it in my own furnace, you're talking about 6 knives at the time, so imagine, and it takes a couple hours to do it. So definitely not, definitely the way to go. So now you're talking about buying the steel, talking about paying for the water jet, then you still have to do a work. You still have to rim the hole, clean the holes, make sure that when they come back from the heat treat, you will be able to fit the whatever you're using, the pins or the pivots through, and all that stuff. Stamp them. In my case, I'm stamping. I don't do the etchings yet, so in my case, it's stamping and all. It does require a lot. So, and that's just the steel. Now you have to have kydex. You have to have a handle material. You have to have the hardware, like the hardware actually to screw. So just imagine, like, actually just these 3 bins right here, it's a good couple $100 worth of little tiny screws and stuff that you would never guess. The thumb studs are like, I think about some of them are $5 each. Bearings are actually pretty affordable. Those 8-inch bearings are not that bad at all. Actually, I think they are only $3 or $4 a pair. That's actually not bad, but you have a lot of them. Titanium is not cheap. That's actually another thing. That's a new thing that just got back here from the water jet finally. EDC frame locks, the small guys, my first design. I have a couple of them, pocket clips, and then I have the titanium scales for the friction folders. So I'm looking forward to do those because I think that's gonna be a fun I'm gonna have fun doing those friction folders because they're not as expensive as frame locks, not even close, but they still will have the same look and same cool factor of the full titanium handles. So I think I will enjoy doing those really. Another thing, so you're talking about all that I have on the wall that's ready. I actually went through those fair amount already. Like I did a lot. I have another batch of about 40 EDCs and 30 T-Rexes in the heat treat right now, and also the S7 blanks are in the heat treat, some more that I pre-ground, I think 10. And there's another stuff that is here from a water jet, more of the EDCs. I actually have 2 steels here. You have the EDCs and T-Rexes in ABL, and then EDCs, Kiridashis, EDC frame locks and friction folder blades are actually N690. And I have some more ABL Kiridashis there as well. And I have actually another, hopefully last for a while, batch of stuff from Waterjet being done right now. Actually, maybe it's already done. It's the flippers. I have, I think, about 10 or 15 sets of each flipper. Now, honestly, you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars that I've invested before I even get any money back. Will I make them back? Hopefully. I hope that people will buy them and it will pay off, but it is the money that you take out of your pocket and invest in something. I was lucky that I was able to start from beginning, that I had my job and I was able to have knife making as something that I love doing, and it just paid for itself. So pretty much everything I made, I just bought more and more material and made more and more knives. And at this point, I mean, I have to be making money on top of it, but still, big portion of what I make goes straight back to it. Belts. That's actually one thing that a lot of people, my knife makers, young knife makers out there, don't save on belts. Like, don't try to squeeze everything, life out of belts where, at the point where the belt is worn out and it just doesn't cut. Now, you guys know what I'm talking about. You know the difference when you start, how the belt works when it's new, when it starts, and how it works, after 2-3 knives. I personally, one of the reasons why I am able to grind and make the quantity of knives as I do is I don't save on belts. I use pretty much one belt for one knife. And after the one knife, actually, all I do with the belt that's, at that stage is I actually just start the other knife, just knock off the corners, the first initial grind, just very basic, and then it's garbage. That's it. So I keep some of them and I use it for handle materials, but for grinding the steel, it just isn't worth it. You think, yeah, it's a waste of belt, but not really, because if I were to use that worn out belt, what some might consider that's not a worn out belt, that's still good. no, it is worn out, and if I were to use it for grind another knife, it would increase my grinding time by, you know, double. It would double the grinding time. So what is worth for me? Just use another $4 belt, or take my grinding twice as long, you know? So that's how I have to pay upfront more, but in the end it took me less to make that knife. So changing the cost with the time, and in my case, since I'm a one guy and I try to do as many as I can, I'll take the shorter period of time over the cost, definitely, because it lets me make more, it lets me learn more on the practice and all that stuff, you know. And that's something what some people might not realize, and I think it's a very, I remember when I started, I was trying to squeeze the life out of every belt, you know, because you always think, oh, it's like, oh, belts again, and it's so much money, and you know, all that stuff. It's so much money that you wouldn't have to spend. But you know, if you have customers and if you have those knives to sell, they will pay for it. So it's better that way, because it lets you learn more and do more work, get that product for people there, you know, get more of the product there for people. By the way, I love these. These are from TrueGrit. It's a VSM. I use 60 and 120 from VSM, and they are excellent belts. I used to buy the best value from TrueGrit, which is actually the same exact money. I think it's a little under $4 for each. But the VSM is, the way I grind, you know, everybody has different habits, different way of grinding. The way I do it, VSM work really great. They last a lot longer than the best value belts, and I love them. So here's an example. So where is 60 grit? This is 60 grit, yeah. No, this is 120. These purple ones are 60 grit. Now if you show this to somebody who doesn't know or something, you would say that it's not old belt. It actually even still feels a little aggressive. But when you're talking the actual ability of the belt to remove steel, it's way beyond what the new one is. And it honestly double or triple the length of the grinding. The length of the grinding, the time of the grinding, when you care so much about overheating as I do. And I can already noticeably see the differences when I'm grinding with belt like that. Even with my Cool Mist water cooling, I can see a big difference in how much heat builds up. You know, with the fresh belt, the blade doesn't even get worn. With the slightly worn out belt, it actually already starts getting worn. Not hot, just worn. And that's just, you know, it's like a tell sign for me that okay, it's not good. And not to mention that I clearly see how much metal is being removed with how much pressure. So, you know, oof, that's it. Also handle materials, you know. Again, I buy these. Actually, they started carrying these, which will be awesome because it's a little better cost efficient. Again, I pay a lot up front to order my handle material, but over time it makes it more efficient shipping, because I have to, you know, they just do one big shipment, I get a lot of it at the same time, so I don't have to pay the shipping over and over on the small packages. And also, you know, per square inch of the material it is slightly, but not by much, like not really that it would be factor to consider seriously, but it is. And for me, less hassle, you know, I just ordered once and I know that it's gonna last me for a while, so I don't have to, you know, worry about handle material. So you see, that's 70 bucks. It is a big shade of G10, but you know, it still is. That's 140 bucks just for the two colors, and I have so much more. Not of these large ones, but all the other colors. Not to mention all the other stuff, carbon fiber, titanium. Actually got this recently, which I am actually looking forward to. Black Damascus. Look at that. 140, 137 for small little piece that will make only one knife. Not to mention the dangerous factor of this black Damascus. That's gonna be fun. They make it sound so bad, like self-igniting, explosive, and crazy stuff. I'm definitely gonna be very, very cautious working with this. I'm actually scared. Jeff says it's not a biggie, not like they make it sound, but the way they make it sound, like I'm actually scared. So fun. It's gonna be pretty nice. Very nice pattern, I think, in this one. Look at that nice small little pattern in it, and it's gonna be pretty cool when finished. It's still like that mill marks and everything. I think that's gonna be really cool. So it really takes a lot to to make those knives like the way I do in the quantity, the time frames. But you know what I want to do in my business, it's the way to go. It's I have to buy the bullet, you know, invest and make the quality but also quantity, because that's what I want to do. I want to make as many knives as I can, so people don't have to wait for them, people don't have to fight for them. People don't decide to sell them just because they know people would pay big money for them on the secondary market. And happy to say that I don't see my knives being sold on secondary market often, which, trust me guys, I know some people don't care about it. For some people, they look at it as a good thing because they get kind of like free promotion or advertisement on the other places, just because people see their stuff, you know, being moved. But in my books, you know, I'm happy when I don't see them sold. I'm actually sad when I see my product being sold from somebody who bought it from me. It makes me sad because it makes me feel like I disappointed, like that knife wasn't good enough, or it wasn't, you know, it honestly makes me feel bad when I see somebody selling my knife, really does. And so the amount of knives that I already made and sold, to see them being sold so rarely, very, very rarely. I think I've seen something being sold maybe 10-15 times, and most of it is actually the small guys like Wijidashis, and I didn't even see Kiridashi being sold, but most of the time it was the Wijidashis. And you know, between everything, all the little guys, all the Kiridashis and Wijidashis and knives and everything, I think I've sold about 500 products since I started. So seeing that few, 10-15 being resold, I think it's a good track record, at least in my book. So that makes me feel good. That makes me feel like I'm doing a good job. People enjoy using my knives. They like to keep them. So guys, hope you found some of the tips helpful. Like I said, the belts, don't save on the belts. If you can sell the knife after it's done, if you have the customers, don't save on it. Just get it done quicker with fresh belts and buy more belts. It's definitely it's better for you. You can learn more with that way, because you can you know, finish knives quicker and everything. So that should be a good help. Materials also, it's always good to have the stock. That's why you need to invest in all that, for example, because you never know what kind of part you're gonna need for each knife, for each problem that will occur. So then you don't have to, you know, like think what to even get and then wait when you get it and order it, you know, for a shipment. Order it larger quantities. It's gonna make better prices, more cost efficient, and same goes for the heat treat. So like I said, you know, it's not fun. It's not like you can just, you know, grab a piece of steel and make a knife for $100. It's a lot more behind that. Between the thousands of dollars in the tools and the thousands of dollars in the investments and supplies and everything, it's not that easy. At least not at this point. You know, again, don't forget, I'm not just a hobbyist anymore. This is my job. I have to have it. So I'm not complaining. I'm happy. I'm just explaining to some people that still have kind of hard time to understand what goes into doing the stuff that we do, you know, so many of us. So guys, thanks for watching, thanks for your support, I really appreciate it, trust me, I couldn't do what I love without you. And one more thing is, what it takes also to do the quantities as I do, and especially that's actually the most important part of it. It's 10, 12, 14 hour days of work. I do work that much, and I love it. It really seems like a lot, you know. Some people, they work their 8-hour shifts. I mean, I was the same way when I was doing my job, and I actually liked my job when I was back in New York. But sometimes you work 8 hours and it's just not fun. It doesn't make you happy. You can't wait till the day is over. Here, because I do love what I do and I really enjoy it, even when the stuff doesn't go as smooth, 10-12 hours can go like this, and you get a lot of stuff done, because I don't have really breaks and stuff. I just keep working because I love it, and it goes quick and you get a lot of stuff done, you know. So that's another thing, you know. You can't expect to be paid $10 an hour if you're working 10, 12, 14 hours a day. You know, it is a lot of work. Now, I'm not gonna be making money like a banker somewhere, but it makes me happy. I get by, I'm doing good. I have enough to improve the business and invest back. So it's pretty good, and it wouldn't be without you guys. So I just want to say thank you for everything. I really appreciate it. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope some of you found it helpful, you know, some tips. And as always, don't cut yourself and stay safe.